We are cooking with cake today.
Here to show us how to make whole wheat and soy pancakes is Charlene Patton with the Kansas Soybean Commission. Charlene, how are you doing?
I am great, and we are getting kids in the kitchen this summer because there's no better way for them to keep those skills going that they're going to need when they start school here again, because with cooking we have measuring, we have math, we have reading recipes, we have organizing, all great skills, plus the fun of actually making something.
Yeah.
In June, we were at the National Festival of Breads, and we were doing recipes for families this summer. And I had 4 daughters and 2 grandsons that are 3 years old baking with me. And Ezra, this was his recipe, the pancake. And the one we're going to do second was my nephew, or my grandson from Colorado. He did muffins. But we were talking about getting kids in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And if you call our office, you'll get the recipes plus 10 tips for working with kids in the kitchen.
Sounds good.
And then also a skill level, thrill of skill, that starts out at age 2, that what can children do in the kitchen. So it's just great to get them there.
Yeah, my little guy's 2, almost 3, and I
yes.
want to include him in stuff all the time just so we can get him eating good stuff. He eats good stuff now, which is nice, like healthy things, but let's keep the habit going,
That's
right?
right, that's right. And it seems like when they help make it, they want to try it and see what they made.
Sure.
So we'll do the recipe. This is such a great recipe. We made the mix here. So this is on my counter at home all the time.
Really?
So I made a double recipe in here, and then we have taken 2 cups out. But to start with, I'm going to let you add our soy milk. This is about 2 cups of soy milk.
So what is this mix that you have right here?
Right, it is whole wheat flour, and we're using white whole wheat flour.
Okay.
So we're using a whole grain, which makes it very nutritious, but the white whole wheat has just a little bit lighter flavor to it. So if kids don't like the whole grain, they'll love this. Okay, I'll let you add the egg.
Okay.
Yeah. And the vegetable oil.
All right.
And then I'm going to let you use the whisk. And whenever you're doing things with like your children, use a bigger bowl than what you normally would.
Yeah.
And just like you said, he likes to, you measure things and then you dump inside. And it's such a great time to teach them the correct way to measure. We were talking about that, and I wanted to just show this because there's so many cute things for measuring. I've got one there, but it's good to check the weights of them because maybe they're not quite accurate. Maybe they're not the standard measure. So weigh that flour and make sure that your measuring cup that you're using is the correct one.
Yeah.
And when you're doing flour, you should stir it first because it tends to pack down.
Sure.
And then we teach 3 words that for them to remember. Stir it and then lift it into the measuring cup with another spoon, and then level it off.
Got it.
So stir, lift, and level it off.
Just dump that in.
Don't just dump it in there. That's
I'm guilty
right.
of that.
Okay. Now I'll let you add this,
Okay.
and I'll stir this, and then we have a griddle here. And of course, with children, we want to be careful with the hot griddle.
Right.
You can take, I've got a little bit of vegetable oil, and would you look at that label and tell us what the ingredient is in that vegetable oil?
Oh, and the ingredient on the vegetable oil is soybean oil.
That's right. It's the only thing in there. So we're using Kansas soybeans there.
That's
so we're
cool.
going to stir that, and then what we did is we let families decide, and it's kind of easy to do. We're using 1/4 cup. This will make 8. Like that sizzle, don't we? This will make 8 pancakes for a family, so you can adjust the recipe if you want more. And then if you want to give your family choices, maybe they could make, put blueberries on them. We have some blueberries here that we could put on. We could put chocolate chips. We could make plain ones. Or if we wanted to take a little bit of this batter and put it into another bowl, we could add some grated apple or some mashed banana and make different ones for our family.
Good idea. And I know you've talked about when we make muffins, and I'm sure we'll touch on that in our next segment. When we make muffins, we want to see some of those lumps. We want to see some of that still in there.
That's right.
Why do we want to see that?
Because we don't want to over-stir it. And certainly the pancakes is another one like that. Most recipes will tell you you'll see those lumps. And then I usually put just a little bit of water. If you just dribble just a little water there and it steams up, you know your griddle is hot enough. Because if it's not hot enough, you're not going to get a nice brown pancake.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So we're looking at this. Do we need to
Yeah.
let it bubble up
And
a
we
little
want
bit
it
more?
to be bubbled good.
Okay.
The other thing we might mention real quick is that, oh my gosh, we have all kinds of things in our office for kids this summer.
Yeah.
So get on the phone and call.
Yeah.
And we have what's called a Bean Team worksheet. And there's several pages. So they're for all age groups. Little guys can color it. And then there's multiple choices for learning more about the soybean industry. We also will give them some crayons and some soybeans that they can plant. And there's some
How cool.
directions there, and they can watch them come up. And you know, another great activity this summer is, for math, is that they can take a ruler and measure as that grows. I like to put it in a little clear cup, and they can watch the root development of that. So all kinds of activities. And then if they call, see our little Benny over there, that stuffed Benny. At the end of the summer, we'll have a drawing, and we're going to send that to somebody.
Can I enter?
Yes, you may. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's perfect. I just think it's so great to go and have an activity like this, and it probably means so much to you to have those little family members to be there learning and
was.
getting guided by this all.
That's right.
Amazing.
And you know, I loved it that we were able to share some easy recipes, because
Right.
this, you know, you can make ahead of time. It didn't take us any time at all. You can have that hot breakfast and
Yeah.
involve the family and make it just like they want.
Perfect. We're
Not
gonna let
quite
these
ready, huh?
cook a little bit longer. While we do that, let's take a look at how you can call and get all of those things that you
Yes.
mentioned. There's a lot of stuff there up for grabs. You can visit kansassoybeans.org. That's their website. Or you can call that number right there, 877-KS-SOYBEAN. That's where you can ask any questions if you have them. Request that free soy foods guide. You can get all those things for the kiddos as well that Charlene just mentioned. There's so much right now.
Oh, there is, and such a fun way to spend time together in the kitchen
Yeah.
with families. And the benefit then is that your children will be able to make these themselves and be sufficient on their own, which is what our goal is.
Less work for the parents.
That's right.
Thumbs up to that.
That's
Sounds
right.
great.
Well, Charlene, tell us what we're going to make coming up a little bit later
We're
on in
going
the
to
show.
do a muffin recipe, and I love it. It is so moist. It, again, uses the whole wheat flour, and it's going to use blueberries, because that was my little grandson's favorite fruit. But it has a secret ingredient in it. It has tofu. So we'll talk about that and how we incorporated that.
Cool. Well, we'll find out in just a little bit right here on Good Morning Cakeland. Stay with us, everyone.